Right now I'm in the heart of Moscow, one of the biggest and busiest cities in the whole world. But hopefully within the next 24 hours I will be 6 degrees of latitude farther north from here. I'm going to one of the craziest places in Europe. It's the biggest lake on the continent and second biggest in Russia. Its waters span across 20,000 square kilometers, which means it is as big as Wales or Montenegro. It's also a place where both Russian and Scandinavian cultures were forged centuries ago. I'm talking, of course, about Ladoga Lake.
Famous for its unforgettable scenery and quite rocky waters, it now became a preserved area. So we are heading to places where civilization ends. My companion for a trip is Kodak, my best buddy. We've known each other since we were 4. He already been there once, but I never did. And of course, I'm taking a film camera with me. My choice for this expedition is Kiev-4a loaded with one roll of Kodak Gold, kit 53mm f1.8 lens and nothing else. Will I be able to shoot anything good in such a wild place? And probably more importantly, will we survive the wilderness and the viciousness of the open water? So what is our plan? A 6-hour night train to St. Petersburg, then 3-hour suburb train to the small northern town called Priozersk, then 1.5 hours on taxi, and after a long ride, we arrive on kayak rental station in Vattika. Despite the fact that I'm quite experienced nautical tourist, I've never been kayaking before, so it's fair to say that my first experience with kayaks was interesting. We will be off civilization for 5 days, and our plan is to paddle up north to the very end of this sector. This place is called Shkhery or Skiris, which are rocky islands transitioning to little fjords. The whole system of channels, bays and islands makes up the most of this natural reserve, and of course, a couple of times we will need to paddle through the open water. But for now, there is time to get hang of the controls.
Страшно как.
With Kola constantly mixing up left and right and me hitting kayak with my fingers and paddle, we were doomed for success. After a couple of channels were left behind, we stopped for lunch and realized that we forgot some Damas adapter for Kola's stove. Our journey haven't started yet and we already have a screw up. There are still quite a bunch of tourists in the area, which started to get me nervous as we needed to find a good unoccupied place to stay during the night. Overall though, kayaking experience was positive. We haven't capsized yet, sea kayak rides crazy fast and is quite capable in the headwind. Headwind, by the way, will be quite a recurring theme during the next 5 days. Somewhere below this horizon, on the islands of Valaam, lies famous Valaam Monastery, one of the most important Orthodox places in the whole world. It is claimed that Orthodox ascetics visited it in the 10th century, and its history is well documented since 14th century. Kayaking there from our place would, of course, be complete madness and stupidity, and very likely result in death. First short day flew by quickly, we were slightly ahead of schedule, and after a bit of time on the open water, we entered infinite channels of Ladoga ski race. Finding a good place to stay was actually quite a challenge, as during this season there are a lot of tourists and fishermen on the lake. And yes, fishing is officially allowed in this reserve. We eventually ended up with this cute camping site, buried in the forest.
Коль, ты говорил, что комаров на Ладоге нет. Все еще очень большой речной трафик, очень много людей, постоянно какая-то тупая музыка, какие-то моторы. Я, в общем, надеюсь, что в ближайшие дни их будет становиться все меньше и меньше, потому что мы будем дальше и дальше отдаляться от цивилизации.
Second day was a huge one. According to plan, it was on the second day that we were supposed to paddle the longest. And paddle we did. Channels were getting bigger and longer again, but during the second day water was the stillest, so our speed, as our morale, was high. We again were ahead of schedule and arrived on the planned overnight stop in the lunchtime. After a good meal, Kola decided to go for a swim, and I decided on being a pussy, as the water and wind were not warm at all. And after a subsequent couple of hours of sunbathing, we decided to move on. This was the furthest planned campsite on the road of the journey. During the third day, we thought of paddling around this huge island. As we had quite a bit of time left, we went there on the second day. And it was a great idea, as the site we eventually chose for our camping was the most beautiful of all. Infinite water from the right and pretty rocks from the left. By the way, northern Ladega is where the events of Finnish epic poem Kalevala took place. This is the folklore tale which is detrimental for Finnish modern culture and art. It explores Finnish and Karelian cosmology and also lives of famous heroes such as Väinämöinen and Lemminkainen.
Another interesting thing is that now is 21st of June, so tomorrow will be the world's longest day, and because we are so up north, sun just never sets. It's funny how everyone remembers polar nights and that they can be very depressing, and they are in the northern Russia, but everyone forgets about polar days. And to be fair, I understand why some people in Russia say that it's also quite depressing. Like, it doesn't really get colder during the nights. It's sunny during the nights. It is very bright during the nights. It's difficult to have a sleep.
The sun eventually dipped down the horizon for a couple of hours, but it still was so bright it couldn't be considered even a twilight. After I had a bit of fun jumping on the rocks closer to 1 AM, I decided to shoot something, as brightness confidently allowed to use film handheld. The shot sadly was ass, but it did prove the concept. After that, calm and happy, we went to sleep. And of course, we couldn't imagine what awaited us tomorrow morning.
Море неспокойно. Пока не знаем, как идти. Вот. Волны очень большие для каяка. А мы с Колей оба не профессионалы, так сказать. Подождем до 12, если не уменьшится, то пойдем так.
For the next 2 hours, we were fighting for our lives. We couldn't get too close to the shore as water was even rougher here, and also it will substantially increase our path. And as I was singing every sea song I know, and Kola was in state of depression, we sailed through open water for what we thought will be a last time before heading into small and calm channels. Because it meant that we'll have to go through open water again, Kola decided to dismount and check whether we could drag the kayak overland to the next stretch of water. He went into the woods and then...
So, sadly, I didn't record this on video, but 2 minutes later I see Kola running very fast to me with a very serious face. And as he approaches me, he says like, "There's a wild boar here." And boars are known to be pretty aggressive. Apparently they are more aggressive than bears in the wilderness. Happily, Kola was downwind, so he managed to escape unnoticed.
Needless to say, overland road was out of the question. Also, water was nowhere to be seen, so it meant only one thing. Back on the open water, but now it's even worse because waves are striking us from the side. We tried, with some measure of success, to go traverse. It was physically exhausting and quite slow, but we returned back to the camping site, rounded the cape and went south. We rested at the previous stop for a couple of hours, and then, in the evening, when the wind slowed a bit, we kayaked quite a bit more and crossed 20 km per day range. Our new home for the night also was amazing and gave us some great views on the beautiful nature of Russian North.
Right and we'll roar like true British sailors. Right and we'll roar along the South Seas.
On the day 4, we had 2 options. Safe and well-known way through the ski race or an interesting one, through open water. Because we paddled slightly faster than initially scheduled, we decided to go with the second one.
And I wouldn't say that it was a bad idea per se, but
It got cold, headwind blew a gale, and waves were high again. We were heading towards southwest. We circumnavigated the island in just 2 hours, but it felt like 6. And just as we were approaching the final cape before heading in the channels, this happened.
well, I didn't record this on video again because waters were very rough and there were no time for video, but we crashed into a rock. Happily, this rock was really near the shore, and in the case of emergency, we would have been saved, and probably we could even save some of our belongings. But by the mercy of God, we didn't capsize. This was a mistake of both of us. I just didn't see this huge rock coming, and Kodak headed us way too close to the shore. Still, happily, we survived that.
After 1 more hour of nervous paddling within this big channel, we stopped on a beautiful sandy beach. It was time to rest. Eventually, we decided to move on, packed our things, and sailed a couple of hours more deep into the ski race. It was getting quite a bit more crowded, but we found a wonderful place near the fishery. This is the beautiful island with a huge rocky hill, and eventually, when the sun set, we decided to climb it. And we were struck with one of the most beautiful sceneries of our lives. Sadly, my film already ran out, but I wouldn't make a great photo here anyway, so no worries. It was one of those cases where you should just enjoy the moment. Day 5 was the final and the shortest one. By 2:30 p.m. a taxi will already be awaiting us at Kayak Station. During the morning we were approaching more populated areas. More houses, more boats, more people, and we also paddled through this funny little bridge. 5th day was by far the coldest one, and there was some wind, but still, weather in the channels was quite pleasant. And there it was, our final point of destination. Kayak Station of Viatica. As we were packing our things and clearing the kayak, the realization came. This is the end, but we went through this journey with dignity.
As for photos, there were us. I was fighting the rangefinder, I was really regretting on not using the longer focal lengths, but we all have something to learn, aren't we? Explore your countries, go off grid, set a goal for yourself. It will be worth it. But as for now, I bid you farewell.